Everyone, thank you Guruji for having me today and letting me share this blissful journey I've had. So I'm a little nervous, but as soon as I walk into the mandir, of course the Shabd's playing that says Chinta mat karo, right? So there's a satsang in itself. So I want to talk about how I got connected to Guruji, where my journey started, and how beautiful it's been. So my journey actually started in 2014, which makes it actually our 10-year anniversary as a family that we've been going to the mandir, which I thought itself is very beautiful because I've seen a lot of transformation within my family in the last 10 years. The first thing I want to talk about is when I met Guruji, or when I got introduced to Guruji, was right when I was graduating college. And as many of you know, when you graduate college, you have a lot of expectations, especially being Indian, right? You have to succeed, you have to make money, you have to do this, you have to do that. And it's only because parents care about your safety and well-being. But the biggest thing that I've learned in the last 10 years is money and success has nothing to do with well-being. And that's the satsang I want to start to share. So I graduated college in 2014. The next step for me was to go and get my MBA. Right? I really want to be successful. I want to make a lot of money. But Guruji had a different plan. Instead of getting my MBA, I got admitted to Guruji University, in my opinion. And what he showed me was that in life, you have to have pleasures. Materialistic things have to exist. There's also a spiritual side. And when you focus on your spiritual side, not only are you able to manifest everything you want, but you'll also feel content. The older I got, the jobs I wanted, I started to get. Year after year, I started getting promoted. The money started to come in, and I was like, this is not what I want. And I want to share a funny satsang about that. So about 8 years ago, I was out of town for a client visit, and I get a call from my career counselor. And he's like, I have good news for you. I'm like, what is it? He's like, you got promoted. I was like, Guruji, it's Thursday. Get into the airplane, fly back to the state, to New Jersey, take an Uber to the mandir. As soon as I walk in, I don't know if you remember this, Aarti Auntie, but Aarti Auntie comes up to me, and she goes, congratulations. And I'm like, what? I didn't even tell my parents I got promoted, right? How does she know? And she's like, congratulations, you made it to the mandir on time. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I actually got promoted, though. I thought that's what you were thanking me for. And it's funny because throughout my career, the more I think about consulting and what I used to do prior to where I am today, Guruji was actually with me every step of the way. I actually ran into Aarti Auntie in a hotel while I was on a client side as well. A few months later, my career counselor had to change because my boss left, and they said, you need a new career counselor. Swanan uncle shows up in my email, like, do you want to choose him as your career counselor? And I'm like, this is weird. I've seen him in the mandir, I've never spoken to him. Maybe he's going to think I'm choosing him because, I don't know, right? So I was like, I'm not going to choose him. Great guy, one of the best people I've ever met, by the way. But that was the time that I realized that Guruji has me in his sharan, as you can say, right? And the job started to go on, the promotion started coming, all that stuff happening, and I just still wasn't feeling content. And I would ask Guruji all the time, like, what is my purpose? I was raised in a family that was very religious. I used to fast Monday, I think, Wednesday, Thursday. In our household, we used to fast every other day, to be honest, right? Until we started coming to Guruji. And we all stopped fasting. We still do Naratte fast, but we stopped all the other fasts. And I would always question, how can we do one thing, but now we don't do that one thing? How does someone believe in one God and then just start believing in Guruji? And I was always curious to see what is it that Guruji has in store for all of us and why is he coming into our lives? And I was very curious. I started to read books about spirituality. I started reading more and more. I started watching videos. And that's when I realized that Guruji comes into your life as a spiritual leader to guide you, right? And as you guys know, I needed guidance when I graduated college. So as I started to grow and started to succeed in life, I started to see that all these materialistic things didn't make me content, and that I wanted to have that fulfillment. And as I started to look more into that spiritual journey, I just started to see that the people around us have vibrations. The people around us affect who we are, what we do every day, where we go. And if we can internally cleanse our soul, that is success, right? Because being Indian, we believe in reincarnation. In some spiritual books I've read, there's a term called moksha, right? Which means that you free yourself from the cycle of reincarnation, which means that if you are not going to be reincarnated anymore, then you're in, as Guruji says, the charan of who you'd like to be with, right? And I started to think about this, and as I started to grow, spiritually, career-wise, I started to see that the more I started to put my focus into the spiritualness and not the materialistic things, all the goals, all the successes I wanted to do just started to come, right? And about 10 years into my corporate career, I was like, I'm done doing this consulting stuff. I really want to focus on myself. And I left consulting as a whole. And I went to a tech startup, and now all I do is pretty much seva for shops. So what I do is I help build tools to help strategically advance businesses. And I'm starting to realize that the happiness that you get from providing happiness and helping cleanse other people is actually the biggest blessing of them all, right? And I feel like if I didn't meet Guruji when I graduated college, then I may not have went on a practicality route, right? Maybe I would have just focused on how to make more money, how to succeed, how to do all these things. When Guruji just says, step back a little, look around you, be a human, as they say, right? And do good deeds for others, and good deeds will come back to you. And when I started to understand that, I started to surrender myself more. And what surrender simply means is that if you have a guru that is your spiritual leader that's going to guide you to wherever you'd like to go, whether it's Allah, Jesus, Ram, he will be that person that will take you there. But us humans don't have the capability to understand what it means to actually be in the feet of our guru or our God, and that's the guru that helps us get there. And there's 3 mini satsangs that I wanted to share that once I started to surrender, I started to see a lot of benefits in my life. So the first thing was just last year. I used to tell my wife all the time that it'd be cool if we left the country or even the state and lived somewhere. We're never going to get a chance. We have a kid, because it's going to be hard to move. And her company calls her. And her company says, hey, do you want to go to Europe for 3 months? And she's like, yeah, sure, but I'm probably never going to get it. 6 months later, her boss calls her back and says, you guys are going to Europe. And I'm like, this is amazing. But I told my wife that there is a blessing in this. Because why is Guruji sending us out of the country for 3 months, company paid, expense as well, and we get to travel the world. It's like a dream come true. 2 weeks into Europe, we're on a trip, and me and my wife are just sitting somewhere, and I go in this trance. I don't know, just something covers my eyes. And I see my wife standing there under me with her pregnant. And I'm like, wait, right? And I wake up. This is during the day. And I tell my wife that you're pregnant. She's like, what are you talking about? This is impossible. So I was very stubborn. I was like, no, this is a sign from Guruji, you're pregnant. We literally left wherever we were to go find a pregnancy test. So we get to a train station. The train station. I think it was Amsterdam Central. And the guy's like, oh, how can I help you? And we're like, we want to get a pregnancy test. And the guy's like, okay, cool, good luck. Gives it to her. She takes it home. To our hotel, actually. And she's sitting there. And she, pees on the stick, I guess. And then she's pregnant. And that's the time where I told my wife that we are so blessed that I cannot even explain it to you, because this means that manifestation is starting to happen in our life, right? Where we're starting to think of things and things are truly starting to happen, which means that maybe we are on the right path, right? And long story short, we came back from Europe. We're here now. We are expecting a baby in a month. So Jai Guruji to that, which is, a blessing in itself. We got to travel the world. We had to pay for this stuff, but some of the stuff the company covered at least, right? So that's a blessing because my entire life it was all about materialistic, try to succeed, try to do all this, and then when you slowly start to focus on the real part of life, which is your karmic dues, then all those other things that you wish for actually start to come back to you. And I think that a lot of us forget that because every day you wake up, and we live in a country and society where you just have to work, and then you come home, and then you eat, and then you're miserable, and you repeat it. And that could have been me, but when I met Guruji, I was 21. Today I'm 31. And I'm not miserable. I wake up happy every day. I go to sleep happy every day. I don't stress, and I don't panic. And I feel like if Guruji wasn't into my life, and I didn't go towards the spiritual way, and I was focusing more on the materialistic way, then I don't know where I would have been. I probably wouldn't have been here today, but I'm blessed to be able to do that. Another real quick satsang I want to share is on seva. I feel like seva has transformed me as an individual because I used to be very, very involved in the mandir. I used to come to the mandir every single Thursday and Sunday. And then life just caught to me, right? Where I moved, I didn't have time to come. I guess we should always have time, but long story short. So for a year or two, I just couldn't come. And recently I started coming, and I started to get the peace. And about 2 weeks ago, I told Guruji in my head, I want to come every Sunday and start doing seva again. But I never really said it, but I said it. As Guruji says, mango mat mano, right? And for the last 2 weeks, I have seva every Sunday. And I never even asked for it, which shows that if you simply think of something and have a thought, anything can happen, right? But for that to happen, you really have to have pure intentions. And with that being said, I wanted to thank you, Guruji, for allowing me to be me. I feel like if I wouldn't have been able to flush out all my dreams and visions, then maybe I wouldn't have been able to focus on a spiritual life. And if I can't focus on a spiritual life, then I felt like I would just continue to be striving and I'd be lost. Today I don't feel lost. Today I feel happy. I wake up every day. Even my job doesn't even feel like I work. It's just me. And without Guruji, I feel like that wouldn't be possible. So I just want to end it off with, thank you, Guruji. Whatever you guys believe in is fine, but what Guruji helps you do is accomplish what you want to get to, right? If you want to go somewhere in life and you listen to your guru, your spiritual leader, he will never let you down. And honestly, in the last 10 years, he has never let us down. My wife calls me lucky every day, and I'm like, I don't believe in luck, right? If you do good deeds, if you think really genuinely good, all the bad karmas will go away and your karmic score will go up, and that is truly success. So thank you, Guruji, for showing me that at a very young age, and please continue to let me prosper and everyone else around us. Jai Guruji.
While I was listening to Aankit Satsang, Guruji